Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals publish, get their books done to educate their consumers, to leave a legacy, and to grow their businesses. We're doing a series of spotlights on remarkable financial advisors from across the country and even in your town. Joining me on this segment is Gregory Kojak. He's the founder of KojakCapital. Gregory, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mark. Good to be with you.
Great to have you. Gregory, now we're obviously coming out of this pandemic here, and financial planning and wealth management are on the minds of a lot of folks across the country. So kind of wanted to hear tell me a little bit about your business and specifically the types of folks that you help.
Sure thing. So post-pandemic, the world changed. Everybody turned into a different direction. Lots of people had to adjust financially with their jobs or with their children. All of a sudden, expenses crept out of nowhere. So contingency plans had to be built almost immediately. It was a difficult time for a lot of people. And so we had to jump right in. Our clients were asking for solutions. We were helping them. We were giving them outside perspectives to help them manage, post-pandemic. And even now, the silver lining is a lot of people actually came out just fine. They found that they controlled their expenses. They had more than enough cash and reserves past their emergency funds. And so we were able to kind of do even more for them and make them even more comfortable with a full financial plan and looking at their financials objectively and seeing like where their objectives were, how they're lining up for their goals, and then kind of projecting out to see, are you going to make your goal, yes or no? And we can make adjustments to get them there faster or make sure that they don't have a shortfall.
In your particular practice, are you working with a specific type of individual, business owners or whatnot? What type of folks do you work with?
Sure. So I actually run the gamut. I go from people that are just starting out. I have a couple of younger couples that are newly married, just got their first real job or buying homes. I've got a lot of business owners. If you didn't know this, we had the most job applications on record in history in the U.S., which happened during the pandemic because everybody saw opportunities and took advantage of them. So business owners are a big one. And with business owners, you now have a whole host of financial issues about how to structure your company and how to manage it properly and how to build a retirement plan for yourself because you now it's your responsibility. And then kind of at the other end is people that are in retirement or getting close to retirement. They want to know that they've done the right things and taken the right steps to get where they need to be. And more importantly, they want to make sure that they don't run out of money. As our longevities increase, we want to make sure that there's enough assets and income to accommodate any sort of expenses, especially, end of life kind of scenarios where they get really expensive. If you need some intensive care, in your later years.
Greg, you mentioned two specific terms, wealth planning and wealth management. And I understand there's a difference between the two. What do you do in your practice? And can you kind of give some clarity on the differences?
Sure thing. I would say probably about a decade ago, wealth management became a pretty common term. And the industry embraced people that already had a lot of assets. They wanted to work with these individuals and it was, a very profitable source for them. In my practice, going back about a decade, I found out that I'm working with people that I'm getting them on track to plan for wealth. So we're helping them accumulate. We're helping them to get a strategy in place, a saving strategy, and then do projections going forward to see how can we get you and plan for you to have wealth. A lot of our clients are not expecting any sort of an inheritance. So it really comes down to making sure that they are well positioned for life, hence the whole term wealth planning for life. And then, you do have some of your business owners my business owner clients that are looking to exit, sell their company. How are we going to do that? What are the taxes involved when upon the sale? Will that be enough money for me to continue on and have a pleasant retirement? A lot of moving factors go into play. The one thing that I've noticed though is, we're very customized and time intensive. Therefore, we have a smaller client population in general. When I did the comparison, I looked at kind of the average advisor in a large brokerage firm. They have about 300 to 400 clients. So think about all the phone calls and emails that are coming in. I have 104 households. And so I'm able to effectively return phone calls and emails. And as life turns, if there's a new child that's born, if there's a new business opportunity that came up, hey, Greg, I need some help. I need some guidance. Can you help me? And so I'm able to jump right in and not, say, okay, we have to wait till the fourth quarter because that's my next review meeting with you. So it really distinguishes me to help in two different ways, as we go through life and plan this journey for our clients. That's the active part, but then also having enough time and my time available to just move forward and accommodate all of these clients for whatever their needs are.
For many folks, I understand that the biggest fear is getting financially naked, if you will. Are there any common misconceptions that people hold that maybe keep themselves from getting properly prepared or kind of sticking their head in the sand about taking care of this area of their life?
The only thing I'll say, Mark, is that the most common thing that I see as a fault is that people don't do it soon enough. When they finally get together and they get, a referral, if I get referred to somebody, it might take a little time because it's a family member. But again, the boundary lines are very clear that we do not discuss anyone's financials for any reason at any time. It's not allowed by regulation, and it's unethical. And so what we actually do is make sure that they're very well aware that everything is completely 100% private. And so that affords us a really good relationship because in some instances, people are kind of embarrassed that I have this credit card bill that's been out there and it's 5 figures, right? And how do I take care of this? So it helps us build a solid plan to make sure that, all the ends are getting met. But once people do take that step, the first step is really the hardest. And after that, they get that weight off their shoulders and off their chest and say, all right, I'm glad that we addressed this because I've been avoiding it for so long. And so we're able to create some comfort for our clients and make sure that, we develop a plan and to, take care of, any outstanding bad debt, good debt, bad debt, there's both. And then after that, you take the money that was going towards that and build towards your future. So it's really, it's kind of the first step. Once they take that first step, we find that there are a lot of good things happen, as we build a plan and a strategy in place for them. It just takes that first step.
Greg, what inspired you to start helping folks with their finances? How did you get started in this field?
Sure. So it was an actual, I started as an intern in college. I was 19. I was at, the University of Illinois in Champaign, and I came home during, summer break, Christmas break, spring break, and I just wanted to do something. And it was actually a field that I wasn't studying. I was poli-sci econ, and I just got involved and got an internship at, a local broker dealer, and I kind of learned that industry. And from then on, it just kind of snowballed. I had a grasp for returns and performance and understanding of the mechanics of investments and how they worked. And it just kind of blossomed into something that I was more drawn towards. And so, the final element is really the interaction with our clients. It's a very special, meaningful relationship. I can't even tell you one single, unruly or difficult client that I have because they're just all fantastic. They see the value of our work. They know that they can count on me to return phone calls and engage them and help them with their problems and get a financial solution. And so I'm very blessed to be a part of their whole life. I can't tell you how many times I've been invited to a baptism or a bar mitzvah, or people call me and say, "Hey, Greg, where do you buy your tires from?" And so that's a relationship that I have because it's so close. And again, we're working on some really interesting scenarios where I had grandma and grandpa as a client, and they passed away, and now it's mom and dad, and we're working with assets, and now there's grandchildren that are now getting some of the money, and we're investing it for them. So I've had the pleasure of being a part of like 3 generational family planning, and it's been fantastic just to see the families evolve and grow and use me with all the resources that I have and knowledge and expertise to its full extent, because it really shows, with their comfort level and knowing exactly where they are in their financials.
I appreciate that. It really sounds like a very rewarding career indeed. Greg, before I ask you my last question, for folks listening that know that they need to start working on this area and are looking for a financial advisor, what advice would you give them? Like, they probably don't know what to look for. What do you look for when choosing an advisor to work with?
Sure. There's a couple of different metrics, and it really comes down to what's the scope of work that you need done. Because there is the financial plan, which is the actual nitty gritty. It's the blueprint for where you want to go. Not all financial advisors offer, that financial plan. We do. There's also, the asset management portion. Once you have the blueprint, you're ready to build your house, but then you need to hire the workers, and you need to have all the materials that go into it. And so that's where we build our portfolios to mirror how we're going to get there. There's different elements of risk with your investments. There's different elements of volatility. Those need to get addressed. You should also make sure that you check out your financial advisor's permanent record. It's through FINRA, which is the regulatory element to our industry. It's FINRA, FINRA.org. On that website, you can check any single registered financial advisor and see disclosures. Anything that's happened previously that needs to get disclosed, whether it was an issue with a client, how it was resolved, that type of thing. So do your diligence and look at backgrounds. And then also finally, just have an honest conversation about what can I expect? What are your costs involved? How many clients do you have? As I mentioned, some advisors have 500. Others of us that have 100, have a lot more time. So really don't be afraid to ask, the questions that you're really interested in. I can talk about, the charitable endeavors that I'm a part of. That's, to a lot of people, it's important. We can talk about passive versus active management. So really, when people get involved, the direction kind of sways back and forth between personal and then also professional, and how good is this a fit for us, together. And if it makes sense to go forward, that's how this works. It's a partnership. As most of my clients understand, they're a critical component, because they're only as good as my recommendations are to them. If I recommend for them to make these following changes in their 401k, which I can't do for them, they have to do that, then they know, okay, the onus is on me. I know Greg's out there listening, and it has my best interest. And so I know I have some homework to do. So, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense to you at all, or...
Absolutely. Yeah. Terrific insights. I appreciate that. Greg, for folks listening right now and would love to speak with you, how can they find you and learn more?
Sure. So I have a website like everybody else, KojakCapital, KOJAK, capital.com. On there, you'll find all the contact information that you need. I have a monthly newsletter that I write, so I'm happy to add people to the newsletter. I talk about the markets and economic and the Fed and all sorts of things that are happening. I also include some pictures of my kids, and a lot of my clients love seeing that part of. I've got 3 little kids, and the activities that they do between music and sports and our vacations that we take. They just love that aspect. So they feel like they're also a part of our family, which we always cherish. We want to see our clients embrace the relationship, and they know who I am and my family and who they are as well.
I definitely appreciate that because after all, we don't just do businesses with companies, we do business with people. So that's
Right.
terrific. Greg, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing with my audience and giving us like some really sage advice. Um, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients. Thank you very much.
Sure thing, Mark. I love your show and appreciate your time. Good to be with you.
Gregory Kojak. He's the founder of KojakCapital. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate their consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.